and welcome back to another episode of Short and Sweet. I am Kory Curcuru along with Heather Atwood. Once again, how are you, Heather?
I'm good, Kory. Nice to see you.
Another great conversation of celebrating food and drink in and around Cape Ann. Today we have a very special guest from the Rockport Innkeepers Association and one of the authors of the Inns of Rockport Cookbook, Beth Roenker. How are you, Beth?
Hi, I'm great.
Thanks for
having
joining
me.
us.
So not only do we have Beth, but we have breakfast, Kory.
This
Can we
is
just
amazing.
point that out, how beautiful this is?
Gorgeous setup, yeah.
So we have 3 samples from 3 different Inns of Rockport. Is that right, Beth?
Yes, I brought you a 3-course breakfast, which you probably can get at most of the inns in Rockport. The first course is Tobey's legendary melt-in-your-mouth scones from page 16. And then we have poached pears in cardamom sauce from page 68 from the Sally Webster Inn. And the main course is Crustless tomato basil quiche from the Seafarer Inn.
Which is your inn.
My inn, and that's on page 92.
And you sound like an author because you have the pages
I know
in your
my
head from all the
pages.
editing, right?
And the scones are from the Linden tree, is that right?
The Linden tree, yes.
Right. So Beth, let's start with your story. Tell us about yourself and how you came to be an innkeeper in Rockport.
I actually grew up in Rockport. I went to Rockport High, and then I went to find my fortune, went to New York, went to California. Started
Where was
a
your
career.
fortune?
It was supposed to be in acting, but it ended up in financial services.
Wow.
So, met my husband. We got married, and we looked at a lot of inns. We always thought we wanted to have our own business. We looked at inns in Idaho. We looked at inns in California. We looked at inns when we moved to Rockport. We actually put an offer on the Lantana house.
Oh,
and
really?
We never could make a deal, so we didn't get that one. So we just pursued our careers, and after a while, literally one day we went for a walk.
You were living in Rockport at this
We
point.
were living in Rockport for about 17 years. We went for a walk and decided to walk around Marmion Way, and there was an open house. And I said to my husband, I've always wanted to see the inside of that house. Let's go in. So we went into the open house, and we looked around. It was interesting. I kind of go to open houses sometimes. And a couple weeks later, my husband walks up to me with a piece of paper. He goes, I think we could do this. And I said, do what? The inn. I think we could do this. And at the time, he was between jobs. So he was looking for a job or a situation or a business or something. So the timing was right. And we put an offer on the Seafarer and moved in a couple months and sort of hit the ground running because the inns are always busy. And it's been 6 years.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I have to say, that is a really interesting husband who looks at an innkeeping opportunity and gets excited because it means getting up really early, having strangers in your house, baking breakfast, making breakfast, making beds. So tell us about it seems like there's a kind of personality for
Probably.
being an innkeeper.
His background was in retail. He was a district manager for a furniture store at the time, and retail, and of course, when we were in college, we were all in food services. So we had the background to put those things together. He also has a business degree, so he knew how to run a business, in general, any small business. So he just saw it as an opportunity. Plus, the house is lovely, and we thought it would be a nice place to live.
Right.
Well, is there some sort of a challenge? Well, I think there are particular challenges to being an innkeeper. Do you want to talk about that just briefly before we get into the cookbook?
Okay. Like you said, there's a certain personality type. And honestly, if you like people and you like to put on parties, everyday breakfast is like putting on a buffet, a party. And that part is the fun part. And then, of course, you have to turn over the rooms. And, of course, you have to manage the business. And sometimes you're waiting for people. And so but it's like any job.
Mm-hmm.
Any job you have the part you love and the part that you have to do anyway. So we do them both, and we just get to meet the most amazing people. We meet people from Europe and Asia and South Africa and South America and all over the world. It's incredible. And Boston and California and the Midwest.
Right.
Give us a good story. What's one of your good
Oh, I
visitor
have
stories?
one. We had a family come in, and they took 3 rooms, including one on the first floor because Mom didn't do stairs anymore. So they stayed for a few days, and one day they were looking at one of my paintings. We all have collections of Rockport art in our houses, and they said, that looks like Uncle, what was it? I'm sorry. I don't remember his name. Petrie was his last name. And I think that's my uncle's painting. And the mother goes, oh, yeah, it is. She had already noticed it. She just hadn't said anything. And it was in our living room, and I told him I had inherited that painting from my cousin who told me it was a Rockport artist. And I looked him up, and there were a lot of information about Pennsylvania for this artist, Petrie, and nothing about Rockport. So I thought my cousin had been mistaken. And these people said, oh, no, he had a gallery for like 20 years. It just isn't on Google. So I didn't know.
Amazing.
That's crazy.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I was telling them about the artist. I said, well, I also have a painting by Terlac, and I also have a painting by Ahern. And she's eating her breakfast. She goes, oh, I remember Marty. And she had grown up with those artists and run galleries with them, and it was so cool.
That is wonderful.
And it just came out of chit-chat.
That's amazing. Yeah. So she was actually there sort of really reminiscing in her own mind, and people were kind of almost unaware of it.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Until we asked.
Yeah.
Well, now how does a collaboration with other innkeepers, and how many other innkeepers are actually involved?
In the book, there are 14.
Really?
We have an association of 20 innkeepers, and we meet monthly, and we compare notes on our businesses, and we help each other out on businesses, we communicate on marketing, and we pool our money towards marketing. We market together. We market our inns as the Inns of Rockport. We have a website. We have some other marketing where we use that name. And we also market Rockport itself as a destination.
So, and what was the genesis of a shared cookbook?
It was my idea.
Yeah.
I want it. Thank you. I love it. I'm so excited.
I think it's brilliant.
I love cookbooks, and I buy them, and you collect them. We collect them on road trips and vacations, and I have some from the South, North Carolina, South Carolina. I have some from California. I have some from, I have a few from Cape Ann. I have the Fisherman's Wives Cookbook, and I have Melissa's Cookbook, and I have another, like a Taste of Cape Cod, things like that. So I thought, well, we could do that. Let's do it. I haven't seen one in a while. The Fisherman's Wives Cookbook is how old, so it's time for a new one. So I went to the meeting. Like I said, we meet once a month, and I said, who's in? And everybody wanted to do it. So we sort of pulled together a small group to work together for details, and we worked over the winter, because over the winter we have less to do with our time.
And so this is a collection of recipes that are favorites and featured at each of the inns and bed and breakfasts? Or?
Right. They're either the most requested or the favorites, or some are not from the B&B. Like we have a recipe for Boston baked beans, and you're not going to see that in your bed and breakfast, but we have appetizers and dinners and salads and desserts along with 5 chapters of breakfast.
So I'm interested in the process, because how does this group discern, okay, we should have about 30 or so breakfast items here, and who's doing what? And
we just put out the call, and all the innkeepers who participated just emailed recipes to me. And after I put together the first few drafts, we went back and we said, we're light on, fruit. We need more fruit, and we need more cereals. And people sort of thought it through and came back with what they had.
But there are quite a few entrees, which I think is really interesting because, as you say, it's bed and breakfast. And so do any of the inns serve dinner?
Yes, the Emerson does.
Oh, right. That's true. Yeah. How about the Yankee Clipper? Do they still serve dinner?
I honestly don't know if their restaurant serves the public. They do have a restaurant.
Okay. Yeah, and some of them look really interesting. Spicy Spanish potatoes. That's a vegetable. And I found the baked beans. So, and of course they're tested because at least all the breakfasts are being prepared regularly, right?
I think all the breakfasts in the book are actually real breakfasts that we serve to our guests.
Right. So, and tell us about the artwork, because it's really a beautiful cookbook, too.
It is.
And it looks like there are local references to this book.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. We had two of the artists of Rockport donated their piece for us to use on our book. And the cover is David Arsenault at the Art of David Arsenault in Dock Square.
Yeah, great guy.
And then inside, do you have the inside? There's a painting by Lori Kylanen, who is at the end of Bearskin Neck. He does those colorful,
Yeah, very bright.
sort of long pictures of landscapes and
We'll get a
seascapes
shot of
and
that later
animals.
because, yeah.
And he's in there on the border. You just went past one.
Is it this?
Yes.
This border? So here we can hold that up.
And
Yeah,
he's
we
in
can
there
show
several
that off.
times.
Yeah.
And they donated those for us. So that
Right.
we could not be happier. We were so grateful. And then when we did our book launch, David Arsenault hosted the book launch at his
saw that.
gallery, which was a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice energy for Rockport, too, to be having, first of all, a cookbook coming out featuring local recipes, and then just this, this coming together of innkeepers and artists. I think it's really wonderful.
It was, and it was really, really fun to do, and it really was a true collaboration.
Labor of love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So did you test recipes when you came together for meetings, at least? Were you serving each other any of the treats?
We always do, actually. Our meetings always involve lunch. So, of course, an innkeeper is always house proud and kitchen proud, so our lunches are usually really good.
Do you rotate where you have your
Yes.
meetings? Oh, nice. That would be fun to go to.
Yeah.
One of your lunches.
Well, are there any particular recipes that you were unaware of that sort of jump out in the book now? Old family recipes or something quirky and different?
There are some, it really runs the gamut. We have a very basic meatloaf in there, and then we have seared scallops with tarragon sauce in there, and then we have a very basic quiche, and then we have a frittata with wine and asparagus and 3 kinds of cheese. So it really runs the gamut. One of the surprising ones was the Victorian Christmas pudding.
I saw that.
So,
I'm such a fan of Christmas pudding.
I mean, you don't expect to see that in a cookbook, and it's really awesome.
So, do you see the inns having sort of different approaches to food? Like, are you kind of...
We do. Some of us are more home cooking, and then some of us are more upscale gourmet. We have some inns that serve table service, where you sit and you are served a plate, and it's beautiful. And we have some inns that serve a buffet.
Right.
And some that do sort of a combination of both, where you have maybe your continental out as a buffet, and then the plate comes out after you're seated. So they're all different, and all very personal.
And you mentioned one of the inns has cooking classes, actually, right?
That's right. The Sally Webster Inn, Chef Galal offers cooking classes to her guests.
That's
That's
kind of
interesting.
special,
And
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you do with the Seafarer Inn? Did we mention that you are the innkeepers of the Seafarer Inn? We
Yep,
said that,
over
right?
50
Yeah.
Marmion Way, right?
50
Yeah.
Marmion,
Yep.
yes. We do a buffet. We do a hot and cold buffet. We put out a continental breakfast that with something sweet and toast and juice, and also our Seafarer yogurt parfait bar. So we put out yogurts and also toppings. So fruit and chocolate chips and walnuts and coconut and whatever we have for toppings that day. And then we put out a hot buffet with eggs and something else, pancakes, oatmeal, potatoes, something like that, and then bacon and sausage every day.
So I have to get back to the process of putting this together.
Okay.
At any point working with the other innkeepers, did it feel like there were literally too many cooks in the kitchen?
No, actually, people were really, really respectful of the
Yeah.
process.
That's cool.
Yes, we had a small committee of the Beech Tree Inn, the Linden Tree, Sally Webster, and us at the Seafarer. And the committee made the final decisions, and honestly, nobody questioned them. People just, like I said, when we were light on certain kinds of recipes, the chapters were looking like 3 or 4. We just put out the word, and everybody came in with, "Oh, I have one of those. I can help you with that." So it really went very smoothly.
Yeah, that's great. And so this could, in theory, just be volume 1, right?
It could be.
Yeah.
We could add more inns. We have 20 inns in our membership, and some of them were unable to contribute. So if they want to contribute over next winter, we can update the book. It's easy. And then, we can make changes, add our new favorite recipes
Yeah.
if we have them.
Well, we should also say, so this is available at Amazon, obviously. Any other local outlets here where people can go?
Absolutely. At all the inns that are participating, you can get them, and at retailers. We have them right now at Tuck's Candies and Gifts.
Oh, nice.
Also at Katie's Gifts on Bearskin Neck, at the Art Association in Rockport, at the Art of David Arsenal Gallery. And Plug-in Tours. She does the tours of Cape Ann.
Kim Voltero.
Yes,
She's great, yeah.
She's got them also. And also at Seaview Farm,
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
nice.
the Lanes.
right at the end of Marmion Way.
Yep, that's 38 South Street, I think, is
Yep.
CV from, right? Yeah.
You need a stand at the farmer's market.
We will likely have a stand at the farmer's
I
market.
think it would do really well there.
And we will likely be at Harvest Fest. And
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right, right.
There's a farmer's market in Rockport as well, and
Yeah.
we'll be there. And we'll see where else we show up.
Yeah, I think the Harvest Fest I think it's the best event of the year around here. I
Yeah.
love that event.
Yeah, we love it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So, well, wrapping things up a little bit, tell us about being an innkeeper in the town of Rockport, because that's kind of special, right? And you're selling Rockport. And I'm guessing it's easy, but can you talk to us about that?
People love Rockport. It is the opposite of where they live. People come from Ohio, and all they want to do is smell the ocean. It just is what they miss when they go home. And everyone loves their home. But the town of Rockport is quiet. It's beautiful. The vistas are amazing. The little downtown area is something that you just can't find very many places.
True.
So the best part about being an innkeeper is the people in your home are in a good mood because they're on vacation.
Right.
And they're so happy to be here.
It's so interesting because we had Melissa Abbott on the podcast also, and her grandmother ran the blacksmith house and a number of inns in Rockport. And Melissa, as the granddaughter, still seems to carry that torch of how special it was to be that kind of a business person in the town of Rockport.
I actually have her cookbook also. It is. Our house, the house that we have, the Seafarer, used to be part of the Straitsmith Inn, which had the Seaward Inn was part of it, and a couple of the houses on Gaphead Road were part of it. So it was this giant resort, and our house was known as the Little Cottage. And it's the only remaining part of this Straitsmith Inn, which is 100 years old. So that's kind of cool. There's a lot of history, and the other houses as well. A lot of history. Most of the houses in Rockport are, over 100 years old. And 7 South Street's been an inn forever and ever and ever. And the Sally Webster Inn is actually named after the woman who owned it, and it was not an inn for her. It became an inn, but it's named after her. And the Emerson and the Clipper, the old beautiful resorts.
Yeah.
So we have a lot.
No, it's really kind of amazing that this is a long history and some of it is still intact, and being continued by you, the innkeepers of Rockport.
Yeah, we love our town.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, I just did a story with Christina Wilcox, one of the owners of the Rockport Candle Company,
Oh, yeah, we love them too.
who was in
She's
Rockport when
great.
she was really younger, went away for a while, then got drawn back to open a business again. And they were all about the olfactory and the sense of smell. And so their candle scents are like saltwater taffy from Tuck's, and the certain beaches, Millbrook Meadow. And so it's cool to just hear it's essentially we're just parallel lives.
Right.
We're just living the same story where you start here, you end up back here, and it's different things recall your favorite childhood memories or what keeps bringing you back. And so for you to actually be back here now and working and living and thriving in a place that you love, that must be pretty special.
It is. It's a beautiful town, and we're so happy we were able to come back and settle in.
Yeah.
And it's really a unique town. I mean, there are lots of seaside towns, but there's something I keep saying it's the window boxes on Main Street.
I tell my guests, Rockporters take their gardens seriously.
Very.
And they're beautiful.
Right, but there's so much behind that. They take the town seriously. I once knew this woman who had grown up in Rockport, was born here. Her family owned the Johnson Quarry. I met her when she was 90, and she felt like it was very important to have free parking at our beaches because people come here to enjoy our town and our beaches, and we need to welcome them. And I thought, wow, that's so different. I would have thought people would think, oh, go away, you're tourists. But she really felt strongly that this is a beautiful place and people need to come and enjoy it.
I think as innkeepers, we absolutely love sharing Rockport, and there's so much more to Rockport that you don't think about. You think about walking Bearskin Neck, but like you said, the beaches and the hiking and Dogtown and Halibut Point and Shaylin Liu and the Art Association and the artists that paint in their galleries. You can go and watch them paint. And we actually have in the book fun facts, we call them, of things to do in Rockport, places to go in Rockport, the festivals that we have. The Cape Ann Plein Air is in the book, and the Harvest Fest that we talked about is in the book.
The Makers Festival is great too.
And that was awesome. That was
That
the
was-
first
that was
year last
awesome
year.
last year.
And then we have Motif Number 1 days in there, and
Yeah.
Illumination Night. So along with the recipes, as I said before, we're also marketing Rockport, and we put in, I think there's over 40 fun facts about things to see, places to go, and festivals to attend.
That's
That's
really
great, yeah.
great. Yeah. So it's kind of a guide. Is this at odds and ends in the end? Is that where that is?
No, it's all through the book.
Oh, okay. Great.
On the bottom in italics, you'll find a couple.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Heather,
The Back Beach American Legion Bandstand, a legacy in Rockport. Yes.
I want a scone.
Yeah, I know. We do. Me too.
It's time for breakfast.
Yeah, we need some breakfast. So we can try these things out.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So
Please do.
So why don't we can start, and then I guess, Beth, you can sort of get into each of the recipes a bit, or what you know about these food items. Can we start with this?
These food items?
Yeah.
right behind you, there's some plates.
Oh yeah.
That might actually work.
Toby Shepherd from the Linden Tree is known for her scones. She serves scones every morning at her inn, every morning. So she knows how to make them. And
Takes your baking seriously.
she has 2 scone recipes in the book. One called Toby's legendary melt in your mouth scones, and I think the other one is pumpkin spice scones.
There we go.
And the poached pears was one of the recipes. Like I said, we didn't have very many fruit offerings, so I put out the word to the innkeepers asking for more fruit offerings, and Sousan came up from the Sally Webster came up with these poached pears in cardamom and cinnamon, and they're amazing. And the crustless quiche is from the Seafarer, and we make an egg dish every day, and every day it is gluten-free and vegetarian, so that people can enjoy it no matter what their diet.
Yeah, yeah.
And I should mention, too, in the cookbook, we have marked all the gluten-free and vegan options. Toby recommends you serve the scone with the raspberry jam.
Oh, we're definitely going to be doing that.
Yeah, we definitely are. Yeah. Do you have
So,
your?
Beth, what are the hopes for the book now? What is it? Is it more exposure for the area? Is it to eventually lead to another book, or we're just kind of wait and see, and maybe it turns into
Really,
something
it's
different?
all about marketing Rockport and marketing the inns. Each of the chapters features an inn, tells you about the inn, and when you want to visit Rockport, you're going to want to know which inn suits you better. As I said, some of them have plated table service, and some of them are buffet.
Right.
And some of them are continental, and some of them are gourmet. So depending on what you like, some of them are downtown, and some of them are oceanfront, but not close to downtown. So if you want to walk downtown, you may not want to choose the one that's out of town.
True.
So by reading the inns, you can compare them and decide which one you really love
Yeah.
the best.
Hey, do you have a vibe on how the season has started off for you? Do you feel like are there tourists in already? Does it?
There people are here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are full every weekend, and we're not full during the week because it's still school. The calendar's looking like it's filling up for July. Most of our July weekends are already full.
Is the Seafarer open year round?
Almost. We close January, February, and March.
Gotcha. Okay.
And honestly, the main reason we close is we want our guests to be very, very happy to be here. And in January, February, and March, sometimes you can't count on the weather, and
True.
sometimes it's just not the perfect experience because it is icy.
Right. And you get a lot of return.
We get a lot of return guests. Our 4th of July guests are mostly returns. We have some people who come back every Thanksgiving to our house. We have a lot of people in August that return every year and want the same room.
That's
You
wonderful.
know what's exciting, Heather, is eventually we're going to be taking Short and Sweet on the road. We're going to be on location doing these podcasts.
Oh, cool.
So we'd love to visit sometime.
We would love to sit in
Oh,
your
wouldn't that
dining
be
room.
fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
I would love it.
And see your, because you have a beautiful view, right?
We do. We're
Yeah.
right on Straitsmouth Cove,
Yeah.
which is nice. So you can see Straitsmouth Island and boats and
Beautiful.
rocks.
So we talked a little bit before about the longstanding history of guests coming to Rockport, and you were saying you can even remember when people came for an entire summer, right?
Right. As
Melissa-
a college student, I worked at the Yankee Clipper as a housekeeper, and people
boy.
were there all summer.
Scones good.
Yeah, thank you. I'll tell Tobey. The people would come all summer,
Yeah.
and they would have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the inn, and Mr. Weems would put them in his car and drive them downtown when they were ready to go downtown.
That's amazing.
It was a different era, and I also worked at the Seaward Inn, which is 2 doors down from the house I'm in now.
Yeah.
And I worked as a server there. And again, you got to know people. We had sections, and they sat at the same table every day, and they had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it was a different type of inn. The bed and breakfasts now do not serve dinner. We just serve breakfast.
Right.
And then cookies or cheese in the afternoon.
But the economy was so different. I mean, it's just amazing that a family could afford to come, even for 2 weeks, and stay in one of these inns. And that's a story I keep hearing being told, that entire families would come, as you say, even for the summer.
Even for the summer.
Yeah.
We don't see that many long stays as much as we used to. A lot of people just visit for the weekend or for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
But we have a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so what else do you think has changed? Well, you've indicated that there are not as many inns, but I still think it's amazing that we have as many as we do. 20?
20
inns?
in our organization.
Yeah. Yeah. So any other changes that you've seen even in your 6 years as an innkeeper? Good, for the better or for the worse, maybe?
Well, it gives me a chance to plug Book Direct, because one of the changes is Hotels.com and Expedia and Booking.com and those groups sort of taking over the internet, so it's hard to find your little inn on the internet. If
Yeah.
you search for the Lantana House, you will get 3 search answers, and none of them are the Lantana House.
Right.
They're down here. And it's not because of them, it's because these guys have flooded the internet with money. And what happens
Right.
is, of course, and we all are signed up with these guys, and they bring us lots and lots of guests, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But of course, we pay them a commission. So in the back of the book, you'll see a page that says Book Direct. And that's shop small, shop local. And if you want to keep your shopping local, you will book with your small business direct.
That's a great mention there, too.
That's a really good tip. Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to be watching this on Facebook. And we can just say the Inns of Rockport actually has its own Facebook page, too, right? For
We
the
do.
cookbook? Yeah. So
It's
people can look there,
the
too.
Inns of Rockport Facebook page, and there's a link to the cookbook on Amazon on that page.
Yeah. What have you eaten so far, Heather?
I'm working on the scone. I went to
scone's
the scone
awesome.
first. It is delicious, and I really do like it with the raspberry jam.
Good.
Because what I like about the scone is it's not too sweet, so you can sort of play with the raspberry jam and get your sugar in there, or a little bit less. No, it's beautiful. So, what do you think, Kory?
This pear is great.
Right?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm easy, though, but that's phenomenal.
That's Sally Webster.
Yeah, this is fun. So, yeah, learned a lot.
Oh, good.
And it's great to have a new local book.
It really is. And it looks beautiful, and there's some heft to it. There's a lot in here. There's a lot going on, not just the local facts, but
We have over 180
I
recipes.
was going to say, yeah, it's hundreds in here.
And it really is. I love the fact that we interviewed Melissa Abbott about 3 weeks ago, talked about her cookbook, and she, which is thick with Inns of Rockport from
And
her grandmother.
history.
And
Oh,
great
she
stories.
has a lot of history in her
It's
book.
amazing, yeah.
Right, but that we basically have a new version of that here. Yeah, it's
I
wonderful.
hope so.
Yeah.
I really was excited about the history. That was the Dan and Helene Duffy from the Beech Tree, that was their idea. They said, let's put some facts about Rockport in there.
That's
so we
great.
started collecting them. And there are millions of facts about Rockport. So we did as many as we could, fit in there. Hannah Jumper's in there, and the Sea Fencibles is in there, and the fact that we had Minutemen from Rockport,
Yeah.
that's in there.
What are the Sea Fencibles? I don't know that.
That is it's a name used to describe the people who, I don't know if it was soldiers, who watched the perimeter of town during, I believe it was the War of 1812. You kind of
Oh,
put me on the
right.
spot. I would have to read it.
The cannon.
Yep.
That's
at the end of Bearskin Neck. There's a
Yeah.
place where they were lodged.
There
And we
you
have
go.
information about the cannonball and the old sloop.
Yeah,
All the
absolutely.
good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. How about the? I heard that there were Germans once walking the streets of Rockport during World War II. Did you?
I don't have that in there.
Yeah, that was. I'm trying to document
Maybe on
that fact.
version 2.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. There was this story that people saw them walking, and that because they were parked
From the U-boat.
outside
About a U-boat.
off the shore. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to actually going to some of these inns and doing a podcast there.
Won't that be fun?
Yeah, that atmosphere must be amazing
Yeah,
to do that. So
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. And Beth, Roenker, thanks so much for spending some time with us this morning to talk to
Thank
us
you.
about the Inns of Rockport Cookbook. You can get this online now, or as Beth mentioned earlier, a lot of places locally, Tux, the Art of David Arsenal.
The Art Association, Plug-in Tours, Seaview Farms, Katie's Gifts, and also on Amazon.
This is great. Congratulations.
Thank
And it's a
you.
good gift. Let's just put that out
that's
there
a
too.
no-brainer.
right?
Right. Father's Day is coming up.
Oh, yeah, good
there
point.
You go. Exactly.
Perfect. Okay,
And
thanks.
graduation.
Graduation gift,
Graduation
absolutely.
gift.
You know, when you graduate and you have your first kitchen and you go, oh no, what am I going to do?
I need to learn how to make these crustless quiches.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know what I was taking to college was A Man, a Can, and a Plan. And it was just like, it was a very simple book on like a can of this, like it was 3 ingredients you could do anything in your microwave.
How to feed
It's a
yourself.
college idiot.
I
don't
think
know
my
what you do.
daughter took a woman a can and a plan.
Oh, really? For real?
That's funny.
No, I'm just teasing, but
Yeah.
she should have. Yeah, I think a woman ramen and end of story.
Look for the gorgeous shot of motif number 1, folks. It's the Inns of Rockport Cookbook. And again, Beth Roenker from the Seafarer Inn, thanks so much.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.